Hello, welcome back to our IT Landy Nugget courses. For today, we will be I'll be helping you to go through building a proper dev environment. To start with, we'll be using a Hyper-V, and you can see I was starting to build a new VM, but I'll walk you through the quick guide how to build a VM. You can do a quick create on the right hand side under the action bar, or you can click on new and then you can say virtual machine, or you can do right click and then again new virtual machine. So pick and choose which option, then click on next, give your machine a name, okay, and then you can store it in C drive, or if you got different drives you can change where you want to store it to. And then here with the generation, this is depending on how you'd like your virtual machine to be basically either Gen 1 or Gen 2, which means either supporting legacy or non-support for legacy systems. And you can see there the warning message: once a virtual machine has been created, you cannot change its generation. So make sure please you choose the right uh, version. Okay, then next, if you'd like to use startup memory, default is like 1024 meg, and you can change it up or down depending on your requirement, but you can see the limitation, and you can see the bar between 32 megabyte to 125 GB. You can use dynamic mem. This is what I have ticked. And if you want to allocate static, but if you want it to be dynamic, which means the virtual machine will be utilizing the resource without the cap, then you tick this tick box. I will be using this option, but again it's up to you which option fulfill your requirement. Next, if you would like to connect the VM to a virtual switch or externally, or you can create switches for this sort of session. I do have already a few options, and you can basically create a new one or leave it not connected. So I will leave it not connected, which means I can, when I build the machine, I can go to the network settings and change it to do nothing externally, or later on, depend on your environment, you can build more than one VM and you can select internal communication, which means you have to build an internal switch. But at the moment, I'm going to leave it not connected. Next is creating a virtual disk, or using an existing one, or attach an existing one later on. But because we are creating a new one, so I'm going to leave everything as a default. Again, you can change the location and the size if you wish to. And if you have an existing one or you migrate in machine, then you can see this option here: use an existing virtual, and you can browse to it. Okay, so I'll leave it at the moment, first one, and click next. Would you like to install it now, or you can again attach it later on, which means the ISO server or image, or you can use it from a bootable media. So for my scenario, I do have an ISOs, so I'm gonna select this option, and you can see either D drive or whatever USB you got. Yeah, but I will browse to a location which is on my one of the shared drives. So image, ISO, and you can see this is the path here where you save your ISO. You can download it from the internet. Here we go, and I've got 64 and 86. I'm just gonna select one of them. You can see it's not grayed out anymore, and you can say next, and that will give you the summary of your machine. Finish it, and that will create it for you, the virtual machine. Next is I'm going to show you how to basically boot up. At the moment, because I've got machine already with the same name, I'm just going to ignore it, ignore this one and cancel this one, because this is Windows 10 is running. So when you boot up, uh, you will get to this screen basically, boot up from a media, and then I can show you what I mean. I can cancel this one, and you can see here boot up, and then you can click any key or tab key, and that should take you back to boot up from the ISO. As soon as you boot up from the ISO, select the desired basically language and location. So for me, I'm going to use UK. You can see the time and keyboard. Click next, and then sometimes if you want to repair, you can use a repair. But in our scenario, we are trying to install a new instance. Next, setup is starting. So it might take a while, depending on the machine and the resource you have. And again, I'll be using depending on the key you have. I'm just going to go for enterprise. It's a trial version, doesn't matter. If you got a key, then you can choose the desired option for us. So I'm going to go for enterprise. Next, after the license, you need to accept it. Next, either upgrade or custom install. So I'm going to go for custom install. If you have some files, this is like a production, you can go for option number 1. If you don't, go option number 2. If you would like to have more than one drive, these are the options here where you can create new, and you can specify drives, extend, load drives. Again, this is not Windows 10 installation, this is creating a VM. So I'm just going to accept the default C drive size, cancel this one, and go. But if you want to have more than one, you can go next. Okay, next. This will take some time. You can see this copying file and then installing, and then after that we should be able to have our virtual machine up and running, and I will show you how you can basically rename. For the time being, I'm just gonna sort of pause and come back when we are ready. Thank you. Right. What I would like to highlight here before we, while we're waiting for this to finish, these are the options for your VM. I mean, you can see there, if you want to take checkpoint, creating a shared, save, shut down, change the media as well. You can see at the moment I'm using the ISO attach, but later on you will install the media, or you can eject it. Copy paste, capture screens. These are the options you have, and you go the size of your VM, if you want to zoom or leave it as an auto. Okay, these are the options are available for us. And again, if I sort of minimize, you can see the VM is running. This is a Hyper-V sitting on a Windows 10. Options on the right hand side. Again, feel free to clear the VM with any of these virtual softwares, or the hypervisors, if you want to call them. And at the moment, with Hyper-V, you don't need to pay for it. Oracle Box, same thing. However, for VMware workstation, there is a license. As far as I'm aware, it's not free of charge. Going back to here, while we're slow waiting, you can even spin like Linux, Unix VMs sitting here if you choose to. Okay, back to where we were before. The switches I was referring to earlier are here. You can create at the moment. Let me show you what I got. These are the settings for my Hyper-V, and you can see the storage, migration, sessions, keyboards, release, and checkboxes as well if you choose to enhance sessions. This will allow us to enhance the session between the machine and the external. Back to the machine, virtual machine manager. I've got a few of these. You can see internal only, new, again that was external communication to my you can see there's a LAN. At the moment I'm using Wi-Fi, or you can use internal only, and this is, you can see, internal communication. And you got nothing is again internal. If you want to create a new one, all that you have to do, go here, internal, external, or private. External, what you need after. If you want to communicate externally, click new, create new switches, and specify the network card you have. You can see network card, and then that should be fine. However, if you try to do this one at the moment, that will impact what I have, you know. So I'm not going to create it, but if you want to create it, just make sure not while the machine is running, because that will basically impact the machine itself. So cancel that one. Okay,